capturing the essence of college football 25. We're already starting work on 26. Have you gotten after that yet, Irving?
Like, what are we doing?
Countdown to kickoff.
I thought we were celebrating.
On essence of college football 25. We're already starting work on 26. Have you gotten after that yet, Irving?
Like, what are we doing?
Countdown to kickoff.
I thought we were celebrating.
On ABC and ESPN+. Clemson, they may say right now that's the Roy bus. That's what Dabo calls for the rest of y'all. I don't know. Clemson may have a little something for the #1 team in the land today. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear is more driven. Let's take a look at our weekend menu served up by Buffalo Wild Wings. And you see what's coming up, some notable games today. And including, I want to make mention in that Akron-Ohio State game, the tragic loss of the man they called Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau. He and his brother killed while bicycling. There will be a moment of silence at Ohio Stadium for them. Today, UCLA goes to Hawaii, member of the Big Ten. Fresno State against the national champions. And then on the field, we've touched on them a couple of times because it's such a big story. You've got the $20 million NIL package or whatever it was. All the chips in the middle for Ohio State and Chip Kelly running the offense now.
Yeah, I guess my take on that, we've talked a lot about that, is what did they actually bring in? You know, I mean, we talk about this $20 million roster, but they brought in a quarterback in Will Howard who was going to fight to keep his job at Kansas State. You brought in a backup running back from Ole Miss, so be kind of a good tandem to Trevion Henderson, who's already there. And then they brought in a great safety in Caleb Downs. That's really what they brought in. So I've looked at Ohio State's roster over the last 10 or 15 years. I don't know if this roster is as good as some of the other rosters. When was the last time Ohio State had now they really have some talent.
Right.
Are you saying Caleb Downs, Junkins, and Will Howard or make this roster, oh, my God, all chips in, they better win?
Yeah, but
I don't see that.
But the bigger point is that all the defensive guys that they kept that otherwise might have gone to the NFL. That's where the money came.
Yeah. But the notion, I think the perception isn't that. The perception is they went out and brought people in to strengthen the roster. And I'm just saying it's about coming together as a team. It's not about individual talent. That's Ohio State. That's everybody who goes through the portal.
You know, you hit it on the head because I live in Miami, right? I actually get my hair cut on campus, University of Miami's campus.
Looks good.
Shout out to my barber, Oliver.
Oliver.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this ties into Ryan Day's beard.
So when I'm in the barbershop, I had these Miami Hurricane coaches come in and they said, hey, man, you see what Ohio State did in the portal. So you got a good point. Like, they're not talking about the guys who came back. No. They're talking about the guys who got out of the portal. Right. And my response was, when did Ohio State ever have a talent issue? Like, look at the recruiting rankings. Like, they've never had that problem. And at that point, they were quiet.
Yeah.
But as a player, you always want to see how these high-profile guys fit in, guys who you get out of the portal. Coach, you talked about the fit. You want to make sure they fit your culture, but as a player, I want to make sure that they're buying into our culture too. Now, the early games, you really can't tell because the competition level isn't as high, but when they start to play conference games, opponents who are equal to them, to me, that's when you really get to see what these guys, the newcomers, are made of.
But really, it's the guys they kept, as Reese said, that's most important because they already have the culture. You know, just like Oregon, they're going to have a pretty good defense. You know, Gabriel Dillon is going to be a newcomer at quarterback. Right. Is he going to provide the leadership? He certainly has the talent. Right. But the big question for Oregon is going to be not their skill, because they have great skill guys, is how do they match up front in the Big Ten, their offensive line, their defensive linemen, and that'll be the telltale sign as to whether they can have success consistently or not.
The storylines this offseason were Oregon's going to come into the Big Ten and potentially go win a national championship. Ohio State has spent $20 million on their roster. They got to win, or that entire place is going to get blown up, maybe burned down. But what about the reigning, defending, undisputed, shout out to Paul Heyman, national champion Michigan Wolverine team? They had 13 dudes get drafted. Okay, obviously that's a lot of people. 18 people go to the NFL. Running back Donovan Mitchell, who had a great 2022 campaign, is now back, going to be the guy in the backfield. On the defensive side, Wink Martindale, defensive coordinator formerly of the Ravens, then of the New York Giants, is now running a class operation, who have All-Americans at every single level. I'm expecting big things from Sharon Moore and that Michigan team if they'll ever tell us who the starting quarterback is.
I want to see who the second running back is. Donovan Edwards is going to be the starter, but don't forget, they always had that 1-2 punch. Like if it was Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum, you know what I mean? So I want to see who that number 2 running back is going to be. I know we all want to see who the quarterback's going to be, but to do what they did and want to continue to do, you're going to have 2 running backs.
Well, I just want to say, you guys keep talking about a $20 million roster. If you don't pay the right guys, you'll be shit out of luck.
That's life, baby. That's life.
Congratulations. You just broke the internet.
The best coach.
Well, you guys will get a chance to see who's going to be the 1-2 punch with Donovan Edwards next week when Texas, hook 'em, going into the Big House to take on Michigan. LC will be there 9 a.m. Eastern time as we go in for this SEC Big Ten showdown between the Longhorns and the Wolverines. We get what might be tasty there. There's the College Football Playoff National Championship Trophy. It is presented by Dr. Pepper, and it is the one that will be handed out at the end of the new 12-team College Football Playoff. Now, we're going to go through this and show you how it works, just so everybody remembers. 5 highest-ranked conference champions get automatic bids. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions get first-round buys into the quarterfinals. They don't get a home game. The other 8 teams are seeded according to the rankings from the College Football Playoff Committee, and then the teams that are seeded 5 through 8 will get home games. And boy, that is going to be something else. Then the whole bracket plays out. There's no reseeding, so you got to make your way through the bracket to try to win the national championship. And Pete Thamel is with us with the man who is now in charge, the new director of the College Football Playoff. Pete.
Yeah, we're here with Rich Clark. And Rich, obviously we have a new season on the dawn here. We have a new era of college football. We just saw the explainer on the 12-team playoff. There's been significant conference realignment that really sets in today. How is the committee going to go about picking this first ever 12-team field?
Yeah, Pete, that is going to be a chore because we have a lot of great teams this season, and it is very obvious. But one thing I want to make clear, their job is to pick the best teams and to rank the 25 best teams in America. Some people get that confused with the most deserving teams, right? We all think we know who deserves it most. Your team deserves it most. But the committee's job is to pick the best, looking at things like not just record, but strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, common opponents, and how did they do, and the quality of their wins. So there's a lot that goes into picking that best team to get them in the playoff.
With so much changing in college sports, we have an elite non-conference game playing here today. This committee has a huge onus on it because it's going to shape how teams schedule, how teams play, whether teams sit players. Walk us through the challenge, if you don't mind, Rich, of what's going to go into this first playoff.
Well, I think the challenge is really going to be to get it right, that we pick those 25 teams and that we make them best, that we get them bracketed right, and then we just see an amazing playoff. So then we can look back and go, how do we change? What do we do to make it better for next year? So really, this year, it's about just getting it right, crushing it, and then having an amazing, amazing playoff and crown a champion on the field.
All right, Rich Clark, you crushed it. Back to you, Reese.
Thanks, Pete.
And he will. And, one of the things to think about is people sometimes bag on the committee. By my count, there are 8 guys, 8 members of that committee who played, coached at the highest level of college football, many of whom also played in the NFL. So you got people who know ball, but they're going to have to start evaluation starting right now, today. As you look at games today, who could put a stain on the resume or leave a lasting impression of something that might happen?
Yeah, and we're obviously incredibly thankful for Lieutenant General's service to the United States of America before becoming the college football executive director. And I didn't hear him say one time that Kirk Herbstreit decides who's in the college football playoff. So that's good news, I think, for all parties in Florida State. But if you look at today's schedule, if you see West Virginia taking on Penn State, okay, everybody's assuming that this college football playoff is going to be loaded with Big Ten teams and SEC teams. Right. 3 or 4 from one, 3 or 4 from the other, then we'll see how everybody else kind of fits in with a group of 5. If a Big 12 team beats a Big 10 team that's ranked in the top 10 here week 1, that's going to carry alongside the voting decision for the rest of the year. And if Penn State comes in and dusts West Virginia. I think Big Ten's going to have 4 people in that college football playoff because of the dominance over Big 12. So I think early here, there's full season ramifications that could take place for that 12-team playoff, Des.
So we were in Dublin last week, and we saw Georgia Tech upset Florida State. Big win. They're the darling of college football and all that stuff. Now they play Georgia State. Look at Georgia State's roster, littered with players from the Power 5 schools. So I think if Georgia Tech goes out and lay an egg, despite what they did a week ago against Florida State, even though it's early in the season, if they lay an egg against Georgia State, I think they can't rebound. They can't bounce back from a loss like that, even this early, Kurt.
It's just this new world at 12. You wonder if it's a stain if you lose a game. I mean, it hurts you if you get into that 11, 12, 13, 14 discussion.
Right.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden you look at week 1 or week 2 and how that hurt them. But I guess if there's a team that's got it's a lot of hype. We like Virginia Tech. We think their potential. They play a tricky game, early local kick, 11 a.m. against a quiet Vandy, quiet atmosphere.
Yep.
Those are a little bit tricky. Yeah. Virginia Tech has to be careful. You've been to those games. It's one thing to come in here. It's one thing to go to Vandy, you know what I mean, when it's quiet. Your thought. I mean, is it a thing, week 1, having a stain?
You know, I don't think so. I think we got to get out of this losing one game mentality that we have in college athletics because it's not going to be that way anymore. I think the most important thing is how do you self-assess as a coach so you do the things you need to do to get your team to play winning football if you do stumble early? And then how does each player on your team self-assess to know what individually they have to do to be able to contribute to the team playing winning football? If you can do that, you can improve. If you look at us last year, we played bad against Texas. We barely beat South Florida. It was 10-7 in the fourth quarter. So, but we became a playoff team. That's with 4.
Right.
With 4 teams. So with 12, you're going to be able to lose 2 games, maybe 3, and still be able to get in the playoff. So the bounce back factor to me and how coaches handle defeats, losses, and wins are all going to contribute to whether they have a chance to get
psychologically, after you lost to Texas and looked awful against South Florida, you didn't know what you were going to do at the quarterback. You just had benched Miller. Just for coaches and for fans, how did you get the psychology of the team to think, hey, we still have our goals in sight? You know what I mean?
We know most people think that players respond better when you win to what you have to do to get better. Players have a lot of pride.
Right.
So they actually respond better when you lose or when you don't play well.
Right.
So because they have pride in performance and they want to do better. So our team had the right disposition about trying to improve and trying to live up to the expectations that they had for themselves as well as the fans had for them.
Life's a lot better whenever you're winning. You know, and you're not 10-7 with USF. I mean, life is a lot better. You can get everybody to kind of buy in, and you certainly did.
Yeah, we're going to find out about that, Steve, with Florida State on Monday night against Boston College.
Yeah, I want to look at Monday night because, Coach, you talked about how do you respond. It's another conference game. They're already 0-1 in the ACC. They got to come out with a serious sense of urgency. BC was in the game last year.
By the way, Billy O'Brien's got a quarterback that can move
Castellanos,
around.
yeah. So that's a really interesting thing to watch with Florida State, how they come out and make adjustments off a loss.
Yeah, Haynes King hurt them with his mobility last week in Dublin. Desmond mentioned Georgia Tech takes on Georgia State, and now Bobby Bowden Field on Monday night. We'll find out if Thomas Castellanos can give the Seminoles probably. You know, Pat, you were talking about West Virginia making a statement. You know, they've got to punt well. The last time West Virginia beat a non-conference top 10 opponent, they had a dude who averaged 58.5 yards a punt.
Ah, is that the Fiesta Bowl?
That was Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma.
Still a record, I think.
I think it probably is. You know, through the entire offseason, every team believes they are the ones who will capture the magic. They'll figure out the formula, the mystical breaks, the unexplained bounces, the mysterious huge hand of fate will somehow move in their favor. Well, that's what they think they want until the reality of Oz the Mentalist sets in and unleashed unseen powers on Texas A&M that had some Aggies seeing ghosts.
Texas A&M! Howdy! Dig'em, how we doing? Good. Where's my defense at? Is that Nick? Nick, stand up for me, please. And let's get one more person.
Let's get cash. Let's get cash.
Get him up here. Come on up. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you front and center. And gentlemen, what I want you to do, hold out your hands. Look down into the palms of your hands. Can you see them? Can you guys see their hands? Hold them down so they can see them. And I want you to imagine that we are getting into the huddle before a big game. I'm going to put my left hand out. Cash, just put your left hand on top of mine. Put your left hand on top of mine, Nick. And let's keep it going. Put your right hand on top of his. Right hand on top. Right hand on top. On 3, we're going to do a cheer. We're not doing Aggies. Okay. Instead, you're going to say a word that's going to describe this season. Something that's going to define this season, a word that there's no way I could possibly know. Can you picture that in your mind right this second? Can you hear yourself saying it? On 3, you're going to yell it out as loud as you can. On your life, there's no way I can know what you're about to say. Could I?
Oh, on my life.
1, 2, 3.
Legendary!
How about...
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Front and center, we got quarterback right here?
Yes, sir.
Is that Connor?
Yes, sir.
Come on up. Pleasure to meet you. Give this man a hand. Thank you, sir. I'm going to stand next to me. I want you to hold out your hand, okay? And you're going to imagine a deck of cards sitting right in your hand, okay? You reach in, grab out one of those cards, turn it over, and you can see that card in your mind. Hand me this card. Ready for this? This card right now disappeared. What if that card just disappeared from my hand and appeared in your right pocket? Check. Reach inside.
What?
Is it in there? I'm kidding. That would have been sick, though, right? Tell us, what was that card?
Queen of Spades.
Queen of Spades? Do me a favor. Slowly. Take off your right shoe.
Don't do that. Don't do that, bro.
Take off.
No, bro. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that, bro. Bro.
Hold up. Connor, craziest trick you've ever seen in your life. Who did you just think of and you say, I'm going to call him right now. I'm going to tell him this guy just made a card I thought of appear in my shoe. Tell me, who are you thinking of?
My friend Carrie.
Your friend Carrie? You know what?
No.
Look,
Don't do that.
Look, hold up. Hold up. You don't have to tell him. You can give it to him. His name's written on the back.
Oh, no, bro. Oh, bro. Let me see my shoe back. Let me see my shoe back, bro. Let me see my shoe, bro. Oh, bro. I swear to God, bro.
For the Notre Dame game now.
Let me tell you what Connor Wigman is thinking right now.
Wow. That's a demon.
Turn Howard Cross loose and let him hit me right in the grill. Xavier Watts coming as a free runner to the back of my noggin, but get me away from O's. I don't ever want to be around O's ever again.
That guy's an actual demon, that O's the mentalist. I don't ever think I've seen him miss. I think he's a time traveler.
Man.
I think he goes through it one time, it's incredibly uncomfortable, and then he goes back and redoes it. There is no explanation for that man. We've tried to get him a few times now, and I assume Connor did the same thing. You can't. That's a demon walking amongst us. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel out there.
Herbie was walking around on the set, kind of taking a peek back at the monitor. Maybe he will.
So crazy.
Old Crimson, Washington State, difficult situation along with Oregon State after the demise of the Pac-12. Wazoo on game day for the 304th consecutive time. They'll still get a date with Washington coming up in a couple of weeks. Hats kicking contest season debut.
Got a high school soccer player coming in named Lucas Dollarboy. Good luck, pal. He's a business major, freshman.
And Pete learned that fishing is not easy. Now, Riley Leonard is an expert fisherman. Let's see how Thamel, he's a natural.
Hey, I think I got one. Oh, is that the same one that you just got?
Get in the boat first.
All right, listen up. Your fire defense isn't cutting it, and it's almost game time.
Hey, you need killer alarms in every room. We're playing zone defense. I mean, fires can happen anywhere.
Like here. Here too.
Des, you can't handle the heat.
A promise is a trust not to be broken. Whether spoken with an oath
solemnly swear
or sealed with a pinky. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community and their families. That's our mission, always.
New DQ Fall Blizzard menu. Returning pumpkin pie and French silk pie. This lineup is the GOAT.
Taco?
No, like the greatest of all treats kind of GOAT.
Oh.
Hurry in before they're gone. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Huddle up, stay fit, and fuel your fandom. Enjoy the home field advantage at Fairfield, official hotel partner of the NCAA.
Welcome to your Walmart.
Hi, you might know me from my other job, but I'm a business owner too. Here at Once Upon a Farm, we chose the Capital One Venture X business card. With no preset spending limit, our purchasing power adapts to meet our business needs. Love it. And unlimited double miles means we earn more too. Sweet, right? And when we travel, we get access to over 1,300 airport lounges. I could get used to this. The Capital One Venture X business card. What's in your wallet?
The greatest meal deal for your buck? Hardee's Original Bag. Just $5.99. Loaded with your choice of 2 full-size favorites, plus fries and a drink. All for just $5.99. Hardee's. Goodness in the making.
A promise is a trust not to be broken. Whether spoken with an oath
solemnly swear
or sealed with a pinky. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community and their families. That's our mission, always.
Soda's back. The twist? It's better for you this time. You deserve that mouth-watering swirl of bold flavor and refreshing bubbles without feeling bad about it. It's time to love soda again. Like, right now.
Let's all get better.
Take a chance.
If you want to execute and perform at a high level, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent.
I want to teach you about seeing things, hearing things, smelling things.
You can find a laugh, you'll find ease. Laugh at everything.
This is Fubo TV. It's a better way to watch live news, shows, and sports without cable. Watch multiple games at once with Multiview. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
I got some good friends that live down the street. Got a good-looking woman with her arms around me. Live in a small town where it feels like home. I got everything I need and nothing that I don't.
Rich tradition and pride here in College Station. They're eager for the start of a new era as we are into our second hour, and here come the Irish, trying to spoil Mike Elko's debut. Oh, what do we got there, McAfee?
We got a cannon!
Hey, a little pro tip for you, McAfee. Don't stand in front of the camera or in front of the cannon. It might get you.
Jeez Louise. That's smart. That's smart. Jeez. That was
Special
real
rigs
deal.
and wheels up for securing our guest picker. He'll be quite popular today. Johnny Manziel, the Heisman Trophy winner, will be our celebrity guest picker at noon Eastern time on ABC and on ESPN. A bevy of games. Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech finished the season strong. You see the Hokies in their team meeting last night under Brent Pry. Vanderbilt trying to spoil things for them. Look at that. They won their bowl game, won 5 of their last 7. Ton of guys coming back, including Kyron Drones, their outstanding quarterback. Mashul Tootin got some healthy receivers coming along. Clark Lee, they reached into New Mexico State, brought over the offensive coordinator there, Tim Beck. Diego Pavia is going to be the starting quarterback. Tough guy. You might remember he led the Aggies to a victory against Auburn. So Vanderbilt Kirk mentioned it earlier on ESPN, maybe a little bit sleepy. Number 8 team in the country.
Welcome to Morgantown, Coach
Upset alert.
Franklin. Upset alert. Okay, everybody's saying it. Too many people are saying it, maybe. Maybe we need a reverse justice.
I'm surprised they showed up after yesterday's show. I guess they're going to play the game. Turns out.
You know, the last time West Virginia beat Penn State, 88, West Virginia went on to play for the national championship.
Then Major Harris got hurt. Then we lose to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yada, yada.
Dabo Swinney and the Tigers getting set to take on Georgia. Clemson, a big underdog. That hasn't happened recently. In fact, it's been a decade since they've been as big an underdog as they are right now. Dabo Swinney joins us now, taking live questions here on College Game Day. Dabo, you're a longtime friend of the show as AT&T is keeping us connected as we chat with Dabo. We appreciate you being a friend of the show, but you said a moment ago that you've got a suggestion of how we can make things even better this year. What do you have there?
Yeah, I got one suggestion for game day that I think could take y'all to new levels. And, you know, it's going to take Coach Saban a little while to settle in, but he's a natural. I mean, y'all know that. He's already made y'all better. But let me just say, if y'all can at some point during the year get him on set with a Pat McAfee tank top side by side, then you'll it's over. It's over. That's the only thing. So, you know, he'll get there. He'll get there.
I guess I'm going to have to start working out. Yeah, but, you know, Dabo, I had a question for you because playing against you guys in the past, one of the things that you always did so well was red zone scoring, red zone defense, taking care of the ball. And that's one of the things, just talking to you in the offseason, that I thought you needed to say that you needed to make a lot of improvement on for this season. And I just wondered how you felt like, where are you guys in that regard?
Yeah, well, we've worked really hard on it, and you're exactly right. When we've been a great team around here, we've held out in the red zone, and then we finished in the red zone. Offensively, and we were really poor at that last year. We were 15th in first downs, so yeah, we got a lot of yards, a lot of first downs. We were like 120th in red zone scoring. Turnovers, missed kicks, blocked kicks, missed assignments, and so, you know, we got to be better. If we're going to finish like we want to finish, that is where you have to ultimately finish, and that's in the red zone. So we feel good about our preparation. Obviously, we got a great opponent today. Not a lot of room for error, but we're excited about the challenge.
Coach, playing Georgia, you know, great opponent. We've got 4 or 5 massive games over the weekend. Your thoughts on playing an opponent, what that does to winter conditioning, what it does to spring ball, what it does to camp, and just getting the juice and getting the guys focused, and by having a team like Georgia at the end of it, into camp.
I love it. I love it. You know, if you really study us, we've played in a lot of these games as openers, and that's exactly what it does. It brings a level of, you know, intensity. The first game's always exciting, but, you know, this is what it'll feel like in the playoff in December right here. Right. You know, it's just got that type of feel. There's a lot of talent on the field. You know, you got to play every play with the focus and details that play deserves, because it could be one play or 2 plays. And so, you know, it's just that level of intensity and focus, and we felt that all through the spring, the summer, in the fall camp, and now it's finally here, and we're ready to go.
Coach, thank you for taking time here on this glorious kickoff Week 1 college football Saturday. I would like to see Coach Saban run down that big-ass hill with you before a game. So if we can kind of make that happen.
In the tank top.
In the tank top. That would be, yeah.
You guys are killing me.
Sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. Hey, Coach Saban, there's magical powers. Coach Saban, there's magical powers in that rock now. All right? It's next thing you know, you're back on the sideline coaching another 20 years. I can feel it. Just need to run that rock one time.
Coach, my question for you, though, is the big conversation around your program was that you didn't use the transfer portal. Dabo doesn't want to adapt. Dabo doesn't want to do this. But all Coach Saban's been saying is, if you bring a bunch of players in from the transfer portal, how quick can you get them to buy in? So you don't even have to worry about that. How tight is this team this year? What did you feel about the chemistry? And how do you think this squad is going to react to what happened last year?
Yeah, well, we make our decisions year in and year out on what's best for Clemson, on what's best for that roster. And first thing you do is, who's back? And then you go around the room, do we like who our starters are? Do we like the guys that are developing that are ready to go like a Wade Wood has? Or do we need to go get a guy? And so, this is a collaborative process, and every year we do what we think's best for our team, for the players on this team, and for Clemson. And so, we've got great chemistry. These guys, they stood up and fought back last year in a very tough situation. They had a great finish. That's carried over into the offseason. It's a more experienced team. They got some scars and wounds, but those things make you better. And they're going to play their butts off, man. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. We got a great year ahead of us. It's not about the scoreboard today. It's about how you play. It's about how you play the game. It's not about who you play, where you play, when you play, what uniform you wear. It's about how you freaking play the game. And I know they're going to play their tails off today, and we got a great year ahead for this Clemson Tiger football team. Ain't no doubt about it.
Hey, Coach, it's Desmond. Thanks for doing this. You got some veteran players, but you have some young pups too. Now, Bryant, Wesco, T.J. Morris, some wideouts. Tell me about those guys and what they bring to your offense.
Yeah, well, I think we led the nation in freshman snaps last year. So, those guys aren't just here 1 year and gone, man. These guys are in our program. They're developing, and they bring playmaking and they bring speed. We've got a great young group. We're finally healthy. Last year, by game 3, our 2 starting receivers were done for the year. So we got 9 guys that I think can play. We got a really strong rotation of 6 and a 7th that's right there. So we got tight ends, big Maffa man. It's all going to go through him. But those guys bring speed and athleticism and diversity to that receiver position room. They can do a lot of different things, whether it's stretch the field, win in space, yards after contact. And just finish on big competitive plays, which will be a big part of today's game, is winning the competitive plays. By nature of scheme, there's going to be some competitive plays today. And you can't beat Georgia, you can't beat an Alabama in games like this unless you can win a competitive play. Just what it comes down to. Players are too good. You're not going to just line up and just run the ball up and down the field. You got to win some one-on-ones, and so these guys bring that ability.
Awesome. Debo, look forward to seeing your team go today against Georgia. Both coaches in this one, 2 national championships each.
Great game.
Debo Swinney, thanks a lot for being with us today. Look forward to watching the game on ABC coming up in under 2 hours. Got an athletic trivia question. Speaking of #1 team in the country, Georgia, right?
Yeah. All right, so we got, who was the last AP? Aflac.
We got a new sheriff in town to help us out here.
Aflac. You're in on Aflac.
Yeah, I like Aflac.
All right, Georgia's playing today. Clemson, #1 team. Who was the last AP #1 team to lose its season opener?
Oh, Reese already know. How come you? I mean, he looked
we were in the office dialing this up, and Reese said, "I know it." I
didn't tell him the answer, but I said, "I know it."
Yeah,
I know it.
I think in 1964 there was that one.
No, this is recently.
Okay.
Not terribly recently.
90s?
90s, barely.
91-ish?
90? Man, the late 80s, there was
Miami?
Miami. Look at that. Go, At BYU.
They lost.
At BYU.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember that game.
Wow.
Yeah. Ty
Detmer won the Heisman that year.
Yeah. Did, yeah.
I
Who's the Miami
Everyone
quarterback?
thought Rocket was going to win the day. You're from Notre Dame.
Erickson. Craig Erickson?
Craig Erickson.
I think it's Craig Erickson.
Right.
I appreciate that they scheduled this game.
I love
Clemson,
that.
Georgia kickoff. Let's go.
Reminiscent.
I like that from both sides.
With a triple header on ABC.
Yeah,
Clemson, Georgia, Miami, Florida, Notre Dame, A&M, Sunday, SC, and
What an
LSU.
opening
Monday,
weekend.
Boston College and Florida State.
A lot of tape to watch.
You know
A lot
what?
of tape.
You also need ESPN Plus. You need all of the different platforms because in Nashville today, Tennessee State, Mississippi Valley State
All right, big fella.
meet in the John Merritt Classic. This great Tennessee State head coach. Maybe they'll light up the
There we
victory
go, big
cigar.
fella.
And there's
Let's go,
Eddie
Big Ed.
George in his 4th year. His son, defensive lineman Eric, was Big
Yes.
South OVC co-defensive player, or freshman, I should say, of the year. Had their first winning season since 2017. Tijerian Williams leading the Delta Devils. They're hoping to improve after a 1-win season for Jerry Rice, Willie Satellite Totten. Great history there. There are some other huge HBCU games to be really entertaining today.
Yeah, well, the HBCU to me is a conference that gets overlooked a little bit. I think they play some really good football, and there's a lot of big games. No one realizes the impact that Deion Sanders had on the SWAC.
Speak on it, Coach.
Yeah, they got a huge TV contract, which has now enabled them to upgrade the quality of their programs, as well as provide better opportunities for their players to develop as people, as students, and have better careers as football players. So South Carolina State, Florida A&M, those kind of games are great games to watch with a lot of great players.
A lot of NFL legends coming out of the
That's what I was going to say. A ton of
100%.
NFL players coming back and going, not just Deion and Eddie George, there's several others as well. And it's elevating the level of play in the HBCUs. And you can check out all of those as you saw a moment ago. Huge game today in Morgantown, Penn State and West Virginia. Going to have Neil Brown, the head coach of the Mountaineers, join us coming up in a matter of moments. Big game for Penn State. New offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki coming in there. Can they find some explosive plays? And boy, this guy defined the wrecking crew, didn't he? Von Miller, Texas A&M legend, big-time NFL player, champion NFL player, will join us coming up in just a little bit. And don't go anywhere. We got much more to come on College Game Day. Now a quick word from Buffalo Wild Wings.
So, I like honey barbecue, you like honey barbecue. I like football, I think you like football. We're like the brothers we never had.
No, I have a brother.
But does he have time for you?
I guess he doesn't.
Yeah, because I feel like he'd be here if he did.
Southern New Hampshire University makes it possible for working adults and parents to accomplish their dreams.
We are thrilled to be celebrating our graduates.
SNHU, it's worth it in more ways than you can probably even imagine.
As you start that momentum and get that first class going, the rest just really falls into place.
For anyone that feels like college is impossible, I was right there with you. But I can say today that it is possible because of SNHU.
Go to snhu.edu to get started.
I'm putting together a party for Frank Moulton, the Black Godfather. I'm thinking Black Vegas.
Groove Vegas.
I don't think you got any idea who you stealing from. These is heavy hitters that they rob.
Stealing from me? Y'all going home in a box.
With Chevy Equinox EV, you can wake up every day with a full charge. Your crew can have a roomy, no-compromise interior. And starting around $34,995, you and your money can go further in America's most affordable EV with over 315 miles of range. Equinox EV, a vehicle you know, value you'd expect, and a dealer right down the street. Go EV without changing a thing. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Love your phone, but not the cost of your current plan? No problem with Straight Talk. Bring the phone you love and get one line for $25 a month when you switch to Straight Talk. That's up to half off the price of the competition. Plus, the best part of all, get a $200 credit for a new phone after 12 months. With Straight Savings, you save now and later. It just makes sense. Straight Talk. Real unlimited data. Less dollars, more sense.
Let's go to our next segment, Fairest Calls, inspired by Geico's fair and fast 24/7 claims service.
Do we have to do the Geico stuff on him here?
Yep, we do. Let's play the clip.
Holding, number 53, 10-yard penalty.
This literally happens every game. Can we just skip to the action?
Nope, nothing but fair and fast claims, just like Geico. Here's the next clip.
But I don't want to play the clip.
Pass interference, number 34.
Wow, doesn't get any fairer than this, boys.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
Being the best takes hard work. It takes early mornings, planning, precision, sweat, sacrifice, and teamwork. That's why Old Dominion Freight Line, the #1 national LTL carrier for quality, works hard to be the best in the game and is proud to support those striving to be the best in their game. Old Dominion Freight Line, helping the world keep promises.
8 months of waiting is over. Thundering here at the Swamp.
A bitter rivalry is reborn.
It's a battle for Sunshine State supremacy.
In a high-stakes collision.
Now it's time to be tested in the Swamp.
Miami at Florida. Today at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
Man, can't you just feel it in the air? I know we had games last week, but the season really starts today. We've had games the last couple of days. Wall-to-wall football. There's DJ Griff.
Atta baby Griff.
Here we go. In Aggieland, rocking. Notre Dame coming in. Of course, you come to Texas, going to have some barbecue. Home Depot tailgate built by Doers. Brad and Belinda Doan cooking up their Dino beef ribs, or Dino. Could be Dino, like the Flintstones dog. Pork belly and homemade peach cobbler that is probably for Desmond, if one had to guess. 1775, Texas Pit Barbecue, and he never shares. Milan Puskar Stadium, an old rivalry renewed. Penn State rolled last year in their first meeting in 30 years with West Virginia. Last time the Mountaineers beat the Nittany Lions, mentioned it earlier, they went on to play for the national championship, and many believe West Virginia's been a little bit overlooked, given the guys they have coming back in the running game. They're unranked in the preseason, but look what they've done under head coach Neil Brown in non-conference home games. You just don't stroll into Milan Puskar Stadium and waltz out with a victory, especially after the Pat McAfee show has been in Morgantown. We see Neil Brown joining us, Pat, and it looks like he's recovered from your visit.
Yeah, Reese, obviously yesterday was something very special. And Coach Neil Brown, thank you for the ice-cold beers about halfway through that show yesterday. I certainly loved them, but let's talk about it. Yesterday, it felt like a Super Bowl was happening in Morgantown, West Virginia. I assume that energy has continued. How do you feel about the anticipation of this home opener in Morgantown, West Virginia, Coach?
Well, Morgantown's electric today, and it was electric yesterday. Pat, I appreciate you and all the guys being here. And West Virginia football was on showcase yesterday, and it's going to be a great day here in Milan Puskar Stadium as well.
Coach, Garrett Green, I had a great year last year as a runner. You guys ran the football as well as anybody in the country. Has he continued his development so that you can have a little more balance in your offense, maybe make a few more plays, explosive plays in the passing game?
Well, Coach, we have to, and that's been the real focus since January after we beat North Carolina in the bowl game, is Garrett, along with his personal quarterback coach down in Mobile, David Morris, and Tyler Allen, our quarterback coach, is really how do we turn Garrett in just from a playmaker to an efficient passer. He throws a deep ball as well as anybody in the country, but we've got to be more efficient in the red zone and on third downs. And I think that's a real critical point for us as we take the next step as an offense and as a football team.
Coach, it's 1,000 degrees here in Texas. I know the same is there in Morgantown. It's massive. Couches are getting nervous. Good luck the rest of the way, and thank you for taking time, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me on, and let's go Mountaineers.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Let's see if West Virginia can beat Penn State. It's been a while, and you saw how electric it was, Nick, for Pat's show yesterday. Neil Brown, what he anticipates. You understand what a big game in Morgantown is like, especially against these guys.
Well, you know, there's only a few memories that you have as a kid that are kind of lifelong things. And when I was a young kid, maybe 9 years old, my dad took me to the Penn State-West Virginia game. And the greatest anticipation of my life was to see Penn State and Joe Paterno run out on the field. And I still remember that like it was yesterday. So I'm a Mountaineer at heart, and I'm all for the Mountaineers. And I always root for the Mountaineers. But that memory of Penn State's great team running out the tunnel is something that's always stuck with me.
It felt alive yesterday in Morgantown. It did feel like the old days. Honestly, I think it had been lost there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you feel this energy that this team that got resetted last year at the end of the year with the way Garrett Green ran wild and that team kind of took into West Virginia hospitality. This is a big one, and I know Coach James Franklin has a hell of a team. But what he's facing on this offense in West Virginia, He did not want to see week 1. Let's go to some film, shall we? Top 5 rushing attack for the West Virginia Mountaineers last year. C.J. Donaldson Jr. was hurt all year. He's back healthy. Wyatt Milam, going to be an All-American left tackle. Watch him take a human and put him through the core of the earth. Now, will he be able to do that with a Big Ten pass rusher, especially the number 1 rush defense in the country? We shall see with Penn State.
You got any playmakers?
Jaheim White, he is electrified. He sees the hole, he hits the hole, and he's not scared to break some tackles. You got 4 guys around him. What's that mean? Nothing, especially in Morgantown, West Virginia. Would like to see him score a touchdown there, obviously. That's a little bit of a bummer. But first down, and see who the first person with him celebrating? Garrett Green. He is the straw that stirs the entire drink. He can throw a little bit better because the work he had with his quarterback coach. But when he's on the ground, he's running wild, brother. Great vision, good anticipation, great athleticism, and he's the one also, and I think everybody on this particular desk understands this, he's the one that's hosting the chemistry, camaraderie building cookouts with the entire team. He's an incredible leader. They're all bought in. And I know the fans at West Virginia have been drinking since 8 a.m. yesterday. They're excited for that ball to kick off in Morgantown for sure.
I want to see if Penn State's offense can move the ball against West Virginia's defense. West Virginia's offense getting a lot of love right now, but how about their defense? Will they be able to stop Drew Allen? Now, last season, he did not go vertical. About 28% of his passes were thrown at the line of scrimmage. So he's going to have to go vertical. They have 2 running backs, too. Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, those guys can go. I think the Mountaineers are going to crowd the line of scrimmage and make Drew Aller beat them with his arm today.
Make no mistake, Drew Aller has plenty of arm to be able to make those plays. The question to me, especially with, not just against West Virginia, it's the whole season. Has Penn State's offense taken that next step as far as pushing the ball downfield? Do they have the receivers? They got a quarterback. Do they have the receivers that can win the one-on-one battles? Because West Virginia, they are going to load up against those 2 talented backs and that big offensive line, leave those corners on islands. And until Penn State can make them pay for that, they're going to have to deal with an overloaded line of scrimmage. So, but Aller can spin it, man. That kid's a big, powerful quarterback.
And, man, that is maybe the biggest factor in the game. Remember, Penn State has a new offensive coordinator. Penn State was one of the worst teams in the country at explosive plays last year. Andy Kotelnicki comes in from Kansas. They were one of the best. Can they implement? They also have a new defensive coordinator, Tom Allen in from Manny Diaz.
And new special teams coordinator. You're talking 3 new coordinators up there. Penn State.
Penn State plays good defense. And they're going to force West Virginia to have to make more plays than just running the football, I think, in this game to have success.
Low scoring. Feels like a low scoring game.
West Virginia's lost its last 3 season openers.
Relax.
Whoa. I'm just telling you.
It's a new era.
I'm dealing in facts here.
That's all, Reese.
Let's say howdy to Jess Sims. Howdy, Jess.
Howdy.
Howdy, guys. So I got a chance to preview Yell practice yesterday morning because the real Yell practice happens at midnight on Friday nights before home games, a.k.a. last night, a.k.a. way past my bedtime. But it's a really special tradition that started back in 1931. 5 elected Yell leaders teach the different yells and the traditional Aggie war hymn to more than 25,000 students. Last night was extra special, though, because Lady Rev ran out onto the field for the first time in 20 years, and the whole crowd erupted. Josh, her handler, told me that earlier today. It's really no wonder why the 12th man is so important to this Texas A&M football team, and no one knows that more than this guy right here. Von Miller, thank you so much for being here on College Game Day.
Howdy. Yeah, it's great. That was my second midnight yell. It was incredible.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh my! So seeing that, the B-roll right there, being here with all of these fans, how does it feel being home?
I'm always here at least for the spring game. If the bye week works out, I'll come watch a game. But I'm always here in College Station. I love it here.
Yes. Well, week 1 is all about the power of possibility, right? It's a fresh season, a fresh start with the new coach and Mike Elko. What's so special about this season for the fans this year for the Aggies?
I think it starts with Coach Mike Elko. He's an incredible coach. He did a great job for us before he went over to Duke. And if you have a great team, you got to have a great defensive line. And our defensive line is led by Shamar Turner, DeSoto, Texas. Connor Wigman is going to do great for us, man. I got us doing it big this year.
Absolutely, right? I mean, come on, it's Von Miller, y'all. Now, we know who you're going to pick, but what do you think the final score is going to be today?
What's that?
The final score, what do you think it's going to be today?
It's college football. It's first game of the season. I expect a lot of points on both sides, but I got the Aggies by 7.
By 7! Y'all heard it, Aggies by 7. Don't go anywhere. There's so much more coming up right here on College Game Day. We'll hear from Notre Dame's Riley Leonard on how a family connection made the Irish his perfect fit. And I don't know about y'all, but I can't wait to see Pete Thamel hit the water and go fishing with Notre Dame's new QB. And we've got a live performance from Texas A&M alum Dylan Gossett. He'll perform his hit song Cole right after the break, and you're not going to want to miss it right here on College Game Day.
A promise is a trust not to be broken. Whether spoken